When I was 19, my folks divorced after my mom admitted she's been cheating on my dad on and off for over 2 decades because she decided she wanted to be with the other guy. And that wasn't even the worst part. She confessed to us that the man who raised me and loved me since birth was not actually my biological father. Instead, the pose she was cheating on my dad with. We were both destroyed by this. I was seriously so scared I was about to lose my dad forever and that he wasn't gonna want anything to do with me again. I mean, why would he, right? My dad, being the saint that he is, called me some weeks after he took some time to himself and said I'll always be his son and he still loves me. Can't tell you how happy and relieved I was. After they divorced, my dad was in a dark place for a long time. Eventually we moved past all the pain my mom caused. The guy Chris has tried to contact me since the divorce for a chance to connect with me. We only spoke once when he called and told me who he was and that he's so sorry for the pain this divorce has caused me. He said he's wanted to be in my life for years, but the situation was very complicated. I told him to back off and never call me again. He sent me a long sentimental text right after saying he understands that I need space and I'm his blood, so he'll wait as long as it takes until I'm ready to have a relationship. That never happened. Since then they've tried to reach out often through social media or my family. Especially Chris. I don't know why he thought he'd become an instant dad when the truth came out. It's been 5 years and still have a great relationship with my dad. He's in a better place now and has gotten himself his first girlfriend since the divorce. Wednesday was my dad's birthday and we had dinner at his house. We took a pic together in front of his cake, which I posted on Facebook. It was a long post telling him what a great dad he is and I'm so blessed to have him in my life, talked about him raising me and always being there, etc. I'm not friends with my mom, but another relative shared my post and she saw it. She commented on it and said this really hurt Chris's feelings, that I purposely made a post knowing it would be shared and they'd see it. She went on a long rant, how he's tried for years to be a good dad and I'm letting my resentment prevent us from having a good father relationship. I blocked her right away. My grandparents said they also agree that it does seem like I made that post with the intention to spite my real dad because there was a good chance they were gonna see it. While I hate Chris, I didn't make this post with him in my mind. This was to celebrate my dad's birthday. But the fact I made it about him being my father who was always there for me seems like I was purposely trying to be an idiot and hurt Chris. Was I an a-hole because my post was hurtful to him? Not the a-hole, and maybe you should block the shit-stirring relative who shared the post with your mom. Based on how OP wrote, I think the relative only shared the post, they didn't share it specifically with OP's mom. Not the a-hole. Your relationship with your dad has nothing to do with Chris. You still wouldn't be the a-hole if you made a t-shirt that says, "Go to hell Chris" and wore it to Thanksgiving, because honestly, go to hell Chris. Not the a-hole, I would respond with, I don't give a shit about Chris's feelings, and go no contact with those people. Not the a-hole. It's not about Chris, and you've made that abundantly clear. Chris may have donated some chromosomes, but your dad is your father in every other sense of the word. Have you considered initiating an adult adoption? If you don't have a legal spouse, there may possibly be a situation in which Chris could wind up making medical decisions for you. It's a slim chance, but if you were incapacitated and your mother wasn't available, Chris would be considered your father in that case. I'm a nurse, and I've seen stranger things happen. I'm also a former stepmom, and I adopted my son when he was 23. Edit. Chris's hurt feelings are on your mom's shoulders. She's the one who created this mess. For reference, my brother Connor is 19, I am 26, and my, now ex-fiancé Hunter is 28. Also for reference, already mentioned in the title, but my brother was kicked out when he was 16 because our parents snooped through his phone and found out he was gay. Connor had a birthday last weekend, so he invited his friends over, and they were all 18, 22-year-olds, drinking and playing games. Hunter and I were about to head out to let them have the place to themselves when Connor asked if we wanted to join them. I initially refused, bit too old to be playing drinking games, but he insisted and Hunter thought it'd be fun to act like college students again. We all got pretty drunk and Connor had the idea of playing Never Have I Ever. A few rounds in, the statement "Never have I ever cheated before" came up. Now's a good time to mention that Hunter is staunchly against cheating. His ex-fiancée cheated on him and it emotionally wrecked him. And unfortunately, as a lot of dumb, immature 17-year-olds do, I cheated on my boyfriend of 5 months. It was a stupid mistake, he found out, and, understandably, ended things. This was almost a decade ago. I obviously learned my lesson and look back at that time with shame and obviously never cheated since. Well, my brother knows about this, so when I didn't drink, he went, "Hey sis, what the hell? You know you cheated on," insert X's name. "You have to drink to that." My boyfriend paused, looked at me, looked at him, and just walked out of the room. I followed him and tried to talk to tell him that it was a stupid teenage mistake, but he wasn't, haven't any of it, and ended things on the spot. I'm numb. I'm heartbroken. He was my everything and more, and I still don't know how I'm going to move on. Honor tried to apologize, but I feel nothing but sadness and emptiness. This morning I served him an eviction notice. He begged me to stay and said he didn't mean to ruin my relationship and he just didn't think when he said those words. I just can't look at him right now. He ruined my life. After I raised him and cared for him like he was my own. I feel so hurt. Am I being unreasonable? I'm going to have to say, everyone sucks here. Why your brother is the a-hole. Bringing up your regretful teenage mistakes is a huge no-no. I don't know why he would think exclaiming to everyone, "Hey everyone, my sister is a cheater," was a great move, but I get that it was because he was drunk. Alcohol does make you do stupid things. I can easily see how the lack of judgment caused by inebriation could lead to him thinking that was an acceptable thing to do. Why your fiancé is the a-hole. Probably the most controversial of them, but I think your ex-fiancé sucks the most. I get being hurt in the past because of cheating, I know that pain all too well, but he's holding a mistake you made when you were a teenager against you. Assuming you're being honest, you never cheated on him, you've never given any indication that you did, and the relationship was otherwise fulfilling. Breaking off an engagement over something you did a decade ago is overkill. Why you're the a-hole. You're misdirecting your anger. I get being upset because your fiancé left you, but I think that's more of a fiancé problem than a brother problem. From your story, he wasn't being malicious, and he's obviously remorseful. No great relationship should end that suddenly and without warning, especially considering it happened a decade ago. I wouldn't let this blimp ruin an otherwise good relationship with your brother. Forgive him. Hey, I appreciate your thorough analysis of the situation. I know you're right. He didn't mean to hurt me. He just doesn't think sometimes. I love my brother. I want to forgive him. But every time I look at him, I just see sadness and anger. I'm going to schedule my first therapist appointment today. Thank you for your judgment. Not the a-hole, but if your fiancé ended things so quickly over you cheating on an ex almost a decade ago and never doing again, then he was likely already looking to end it or on the fence. That's not normal. So my situation is a little difficult, so I thought I would confide in the good professional people of Reddit. Couple days ago me and my brother were hanging out late night, doing regular guy things, drinking, watching sports, etc. We haven't seen each other in maybe 5-6 years, so naturally we started talking about life and what's been going on the past few years. Towards the end of our conversation we started to get to the secrets. I mentioned something along the lines that I smoked weed for the first time and did various other substances. This was hard for me to tell because my whole life I was pretty much anti-drugs and such. We both laughed about it, saying, "Just don't let mom find out." The joke died out after a little bit and then he just blurted out, "I cheated on my wife." At first it didn't register until I saw his face and he was dead serious. I for one hate cheaters, but I try to do my best not to judge anyone for their actions. He begins explaining this was something that happened about 4 years ago when his wife was always busy with work. She would travel a lot and be away for weeks at a time. He told me they were going through a tough time back then, lots of arguing, not communicating, and that he felt really lonely. During the same time my brother met a girl at his local gym, started off as friends, slowly kept bonding, and you guessed they did the sex. He told me this occasion only happened once and pretty much cut her off after that night because he started to feel guilty for a short while. Few months later his relationship turned for the better for him and his wife. Pretty much after his wife's travels slowed down, his whole relationship has been great. They've both gotten promotions, bought a house, more family vacations. They have a kid. He told me life has been good to him now and he's just thankful things have finally worked out. As stated before, I hate cheaters, and I've always felt that the person being cheated on always has the right no. I know for sure this would probably destroy their marriage and there would be a fight for the kid. My heart tells me I have to tell her because it's the right thing to do, especially because I've known my brother to cheat one other time on an ex-girlfriend couple years before his current wife. My brain tells me it's none of my business and I should keep my mouth shut. I don't want to see their kid go through that kind of pain either. On one hand I betray my brother, if I say something, on the other hand I betray our close family friend because I know this secret and I don't say anything. I wish he never told me, ignorance is truly bliss. So, there it is, would I be the a-hole if I said something? You're the a-hole if you tell her now. I am usually on the side of the cheated partner absolutely deserves to know. But here it seems to be a thing in the past, your brother has genuinely regretted it and improved his marriage. So it's better if you don't stir the pot now. Not sure if I agree, but I also don't disagree. I think this is a very tough decision either way. I think OP, if doesn't tell wife, needs to have another talk with his brother about how this can never happen again, even if they become distant or whatever, as there is no excuse. But yes, it was years ago and they've moved on, had a kid, etc. So ruining that is not ideal, so would understand him not telling and wouldn't say he'd be the a-hole for not telling. You're the a-hole if you did this, you would be doing it solely for your own sense of self-righteousness. Follow your brain. He told you in confidence, he knows it was a mistake and he is your brother. You may think she has a right to know, but she might not want to know, you just don't know, and sometimes ignorance really is bliss. Don't turn her life upside down for your own purposes. You're the a-hole, no, drop this and back as far away as possible. They have a kid now, you'd risk destroying their marriage for their child for something that happened 4 years ago and is clearly over. No. Do not do this. I will try to keep this short. My son cheated on his wife with another woman and got the other woman pregnant. After a lot of counseling and soul searching, my son and his wife decided to remain married. They have 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy, who are obviously my grandchildren. I am very close with them and have spoiled them since they were born. I have no relationship with the child my son had with the other woman. I believe he is almost 2 now. I think it would pain my daughter-in-law, who is like my own daughter. I have known her since she was in her young teens, if I had a real relationship with this child. She never talks about him at all. As for my son, I know he pays child support. I believe he sees the child only occasionally though. Maybe once every few months, I'm not sure. Anyhow, the child's mother reached out to me. Apparently she got my number from my son. She told me who it was and basically asked if I wanted to have a relationship with my grandson. I said I wasn't sure it was a good idea and she hung up the phone. I obviously told my son about this phone call. He said he gave the woman my number, but he didn't know what she was going to say. When I explained what she wanted, he had no reaction. So I dropped the subject. I'm posting this on a new account because I prefer not to have my personal family business on my primary one. I am just looking for impartial judgment. Thanks. This is heartbreaking for the boy. It's sad that your family is blaming this other woman and making the baby pay for it. Your son is the one who cheated, not this little boy. No a-holes here. Everyone saying you're an a-hole is not thinking about this situation deep enough. OP is worried about the daughter-in-law and rightfully so. Honestly, being a part of the ex-mistress and her son's life could cause a rift in OP's married family. Not only could it mess with the daughter-in-law, but there could be consequences with the kids as well. But that being said, yes, the child is innocent, and I'm sure when he gets older he would value having a relationship with his grandparents. There's honestly no good answer to this one. People are likely to suffer, no matter what OP chooses. OP is in between a rock and a hard place, and it's wrong to say OP is a straight-up a-hole. It's not like OP is saying anything bad about the kid. Nothing gives me the sense that OP has anything against the child. OP is just hesitant because of the consequences it could have with other family member, including other children. That's a pretty valid reason to be hesitant. I met my wife in my early 30s. She was in her mid-20s at the time. I was already well established and had made a significant amount of money working as a quant and investing my savings diligently. She on the other hand had never gone to college and was content working for basically minimum wage. So when I meet her, we click instantly and I fall head over heels for her. We get married and move in together and soon after have 3 kids. When we were expecting our firstborn, she had told me she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. Obviously I was jealous, but I went along with it since it seemed logical. So, she spends the next 20 plus years as a stay-at-home mom taking care of our kids while I work 12-hour days and then some. I'm not demeaning stay-at-home moms by the way, but in the context of our marriage, she had an extremely easygoing lifestyle. A couple years ago I discovered she had been cheating on me with her friend's husband. Divorce obviously followed. The only major asset we had in the United States was our house, which was a premarital asset. We had a shared bank account, but since I am a finance guy I handled all our investments and for tax reasons invested it abroad in my home country. Now if we had just grown apart or she said she was unhappy, I'd have no problem paying what's fair. But the fact she cheated on me is what makes me resent paying her a cent. So, in the divorce she is awarded half of our investments made during marriage, more than 90% of which are abroad in my name, along with alimony for 20 years for 30% of my pay. So here I am given an opportunity to get out of this entirely by moving back to my home country and never looking back. So I sell our house as fast as possible, move the money abroad, and move back to my home country while stringing her along about why it's taking so long to liquidate our savings. Once abroad I immediately stop alimony payments. Now she has no legal recourse, I've double-checked with lawyers, and is left with her share of the small amount we had in the States. The reason I'm asking here is that my own children are split on this. My son is on my side 100%, while my daughters are 90% on their mother's side. I figured it would be interesting to see the opinions of people here. You're the a-hole, even if she cheated. This isn't about feelings at this point. This is about labor relations. The idea of alimony for the stay-at-home spouse is that they raised your kids, forgoing other work. It doesn't matter that she was working for minimum wage. She gave up opportunities once you had the kids. She didn't save for retirement because if someone is a primary caregiver the idea is that the spouse who works outside the home takes care of retirement. Now that the marriage is over, alimony fulfills your obligation to pay for her half of the labor of raising the children you also wanted. Not the a-hole, prenups are the real deal guys, get one.